Fine, I'll follow the rules to the book and go home with pay. So now I've left my old job, I feel like I can finally share this story. I drive trucks and I was doing job which just wouldn't get done if everybody followed all the red tape. It's kind of the place where you sign all of the paperwork stating you'll do it this way, but the reality is, you can't, but that's fine because the paperwork is there just to protect the company from legal recourse. Now I'm not saying we all did dangerous stuff, but you know, it was just little things that made your work a little easier and more efficient. Well, all of a sudden the company started to enforce every policy. What really annoyed me though was that you never knew which policy they had decided to start enforcing until you got asked to see a manager and told you were being put on performance review because you had been observed on CCTV. What was more annoying was the supervisors would report you for something petty, but then the next day be asking you and expect you to do something that was far more dangerous and risky than the thing they reported you for. Things like, you'd be reported and put on performance review for leaving your keys in the truck for a few minutes on Tuesday, but then on Thursday you'd be expected to use a tail lift in a public area with people walking under the lift with a 1-ton pallet on it. This despite the fact the company policy states that tail lifts should only be used outside of store opening hours. So I started to follow the rules explicitly. My daily hours went from being around 10 to around 12 or 13, but my ultimate FKU came when they decided all PPE had to be signed out by upper management. Before this change, they had a cupboard full of stuff like gloves, high-vis jackets, and most importantly for this story, steel-toe cap boots. If you needed something, you just asked a supervisor and you'd have a new pair of boots within a few minutes. Well, on a Friday I noticed my boots had broken and the sole was separating from the boot. I left for work on Saturday morning telling my wife that I would probably be coming home because I knew upper management only worked Monday to Friday, so no new PPE could be provided. Sure enough, after showing the supervisors and manager on duty my boots, they couldn't get me any. They spent about an hour trying to find me some, but eventually told me I would have to go home without pay. I told them that I've turned up to work and that I'm willing to work, but it's the company's responsibility to provide their staff with PPE and that it isn't my fault if they can't provide any. After a while of refusing to back down, the manager went to go call someone in the legal department. He returned saying I would be sent home for the weekend with full pay and some new boots would be provided to me on Monday, rolling on the floor laughing. What's more, one of the supervisors told me that I should tape the boot up with tape and that if I didn't, he'd report me to upper management. I also put in a grievance about this conversation and said supervisor was suspended from duties involving other members of staff. Thing is, before the company started to get petty, on Saturday morning I would have just set off for work 30 minutes earlier and got some cheap boots myself on the way to work, but they honestly eroded any goodwill I had left and I was past the point of caring. I had a nice weekend though. As someone who researches and provides support to safety-critical systems, I'm all about enforcing safety protocols. However, it should absolutely be consistent, and expectations about what can be accomplished should account for corners not being cut. I 100% support this compliance. Somewhere on Reddit, I read that safety rules are written in blood. They are there for a reason. Manglement is failing by not being consistent in enforcing them. Since it's a union shop, start following the safety protocols and let the union tell Manglement to suck it. I used to work at Walmart. If anyone here has ever worked there, remember the videos they made you watch about the ladders? The thing is, if you were hurt on those things, you know they were going to bring up that video, and at the same time it was physically impossible to follow that video. I was booked on a 3-day IOSH health and safety course for managers, supervisors several years ago. Absolutely the scariest course I have ever been on. You do not mess with health and safety ever. Health and safety is the only area where there is no innocent until proven guilty. If health and safety get involved, it's because something has gone badly wrong and someone has been hurt. In that case, it's about assessing just how guilty you are and whether you knew about or contributed to the situation that went wrong. Liability can go all the way up from coworkers to executives and owners. Everyone has the right to go home at the end of the day in the same, or better, condition than when they arrived at the start of their shift. If I spot you being a dick, you will be escorted off-site immediately. Work smart, work safe, stay healthy. I am actually trying to get my CDL. Do you like your job? My class starts in September and I wanted to do regional flatbed. I only plan on trucking for 58 years so I can save a bunch. I'm in the US and just completed OSHA training. It's mandatory for everyone in my company. And I'm in HR. So it's good I know about everything, even though I won't need to actually process the proper protocols for electrical work, etc. Thank you for proving your point, maliciously complying, and keeping yourself safe, which in turn keeps your coworkers safe. You also technically prevented your company from one more potential liability, but I know you don't care about that side of things. I read a while ago that a Navy ship actually could never leave bay if all rules would be followed. To the point, like mandatory breaks after a specific activities, signing stuff on and off, handing over, etc. Rules are more sort of guidelines what needs to be accomplished and what safety measures are necessary to do so, and it's to everybody's own judgment to achieve said goal in the most secure way. And it works. Just imagine a new officer trying to enforce the rules. Said officer's career would be quite short-lived. Manglement is oh so true. If you never get the good ones, that you gladly pay for. Finally, a community that understands the power of "fine, I'll do it" attitudes. Raising hands, medium light skin tone, tears of joy. How cheap are the steel boots? I was your manager, I would just pick money from my pocket and give to you. Or was that against policy? The first time I got in trouble for not following one of those policies would be the day I started following every single one. They can't reprimand or fire you for following procedures, as you can always report their fault management up the chain, including to the correct government agencies. And, honestly, those policies are written in blood. You should be following them. For yourself. Baylor? I hardly know her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.